It says we're live. We got stuff over here. We got stuff over there. It looks like we're live on Twitter or X, on YouTube, and on Facebook. And we welcome everybody in. Cheers to you on a Friday night. A little product placement here. There we go. Very nice. A rare Friday night broadcast. High school football for us last night down in Eunice, New Mexico. But here we are in the Arctic Air Studios, hanging out with y'all, getting Texas Tech predictions in, college football, anything else that is on your mind. Brought to you, of course, by Boot City, 197 mile outside the West Loop, there on the Levelland Highway. You like these shirts? You like a lot of the stuff we wear? You can get it at Boot City. And, of course, Domino's Pizza. Football is back all weekend long. Domino's.com, Domino's app for you. We'll let some folks get in. You guys know what to do. The early arrivals, you give us thumbs up, you give us hearts, you let us know the audio is good. The video is good. For those of you on Twitter X and on, of course, YouTube, use that United Supermarkets text line to get in, 806-772-0197. United Supermarkets, Market Street, showing us how to make some jalapeno burgers today. They had my attention. Indeed, Craig says the talking box is on. We've got multiple Craigs. We got Teresa out there watching today. We got you guys wherever you are. But friendly reminder for Twitter and YouTube folks, please use the United Supermarkets text line to get in. Otherwise, we'll probably miss your comment using multiple platforms. 806-772-0197. So, yeah, Fridays, let's get our score predictions going for Tech in Wyoming. Find out the most Texan thing you have done today. The ACC finally got NC State to flip, and now CalFord is in and SMU is in. They will sleep on the floor of the homeless shelter that is the ACC. All that, plus your questions, comments, whatever will make for good conversation. We want you to invite your friends in as well. You can do that on all of our platforms. Just hit the share portion of the proceedings and get them in. Look at that. Teresa already going Tech 21, Wyoming 14. Not a cover in the eyes of Vegas, as Texas Tech pretty much painted 14-point favorites from here. Let's do this thing in 3, in 2. Good evening, West Texans, all you good, fine, friendly folks out there who wish you were. I'm Ryan Hyatt, TheRaiderland.com, the website, everything we do, you can find there. We start the day with the question of the day with our Raiderland hot links, cool stories, cool links from around West Texas and beyond. And, of course, we're emanating forth and broadcasting from the palatial Arctic Air Studios. If your air is not Arctic this weekend, you know what to do. Call the Bear. They work weekends. They work holidays. I know. July 4th weekend. Hi. Thank you. CallTheBear.com. Also by Boot City. Cody Woods, Boot City. And they're rocking and rolling. Already the back-to-school specials, but they got some pretty cool inventory rolling in. I'm going to go over there this week. I'm going to pick up a few new shirts, kind of liven up the things in the wardrobe going into the fall. If you go out there, tell them you heard about it right here on the old Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland. And, of course, the aforementioned Domino's Pizza, Domino's.com. A ton of specials when you get the app and if you're online that you might miss out on. Don't miss out. Fear of missing out is real when it comes to pizza. I don't want that to happen to you. And if anyone's wondering, thin crust, double pepperoni sounds really, really good tonight. All right, let's do it. Your predictions, everything else, most Texan thing you have done today. And we will discuss what the ACC really did today. The ACC did not expand by taking in Cal, Stanford, and SMU. It's a preemptive move to backfill the conference. I saw that quote today, Alan. We'll get to that. All right. So let's see. What do we got here? 21-14. Teresa's going with that. Hi there, Brad. Glad you're in. Was watching y'all's game last night. Did Eunice get 4 timeouts in the first half? Nobody really knows for sure. Didn't really matter. The referees were the least of the problems. I don't think they did, though. Had good old barbecue this week. That's pretty Texan. Where'd you get it? Did you make it? Shout out to wherever you got it. Craig Tech 34, Wyoming 24. Another one has Wyoming in the 14-point cover mode right now, 35-24. Chris's prediction does sound good. I assume talking about Domino's Pizza. Killed the Pac-12 for sure. The Pac-12 has been walking dead since USC and UCLA left. But, yeah, there is no Pac-12. Grandparents lived in Jal, so I know the hatred for Eunice. I told my wife we were going down there last night. I said, I had a friend who worked at the Jal newspaper. This is a million years ago. That alone will drive you out of the business. Alan talking about SMU is the most aggressive a Methodist has been since the Second Great Awakening. Thank you very much. Very good. Very good. Wesleyan jokes tonight. Nothing but Wesleyan jokes tonight. Lubbock Area Square and Round Dancers Federation, Country and Western Dances, Great Sandwiches. Really? That is a mouthful, by the way. The Lubbock area, not just Lubbock, the area. And when people want to square and round dance, they're hard people to stop. Don't get in their way. Dancing will happen. And it's a federation. Don't mess with them. 3414 text says Brad, the Jowl record. Yeah, I believe so. Question will be if an ACC without Clemson, UNC, and Florida State is worth more than the Big 12. No, it will never surpass the Big 12 ever and ever again. 3416 says Alan, it's a snug cover. Every other Saturday night, of course, how do you know which Saturday night it is? If you go, it's that night. If you go and they're not dancing, either in squares or rounds, you've missed out. You must wait another week. So you figure it out. All right, get on the United Supermarkets text line, 806-772-0197. You can get your score predictions in. Thoughts, comments, most Texan thing you have done this week. Thoughts on ACC, not expansion, but this is preemptive backfill. We'll explain what that means here in just a little bit. And then whatever else is on your mind. Made it to Labor Day, the official, I guess, end of summer, whatever you want to call it. I'll give you my score prediction here in a little bit. I want to get as many of y'all's and kind of see what the pulse of the room is, and then I'll change mine. No, I've got mine written down. Okay, actual notes, actual stuff that we do to prepare for the show. We really do. We prepare for you. That's our commitment to you. Most Texan thing I've done this week. I don't know. A lot of Texan things. Go to New Mexico to watch a Texas football team play. Yeah, no more white. The white Elvis jumpsuit, Chris, is completely out. That was last weekend. No more this weekend. I guarantee you, though, I will make this guarantee, this pledge to you. I promise I'm the only Lubbock sports media member who, before doing their broadcast today, had to go feed the chickens, gather eggs, and make sure the water was properly flowing for the chickens. I guarantee you, I'm the only Lubbock media member who was inside a chicken coop, glancing around furtively glancing to make sure there weren't snakes in there, friendly or otherwise. Even the friendly ones, you're just kind of like, okay. You reach in here, and there's not going to be one in here, right? Most Texan thing you've done, ate some calf fries. Good for you. Teresa, square dance lessons start September 11th. Thanks for the plug. There you go, everybody. What about some round dancing? Could we do some reels? You got reels, you got squares, you got rounds. I'd like to be a square dance caller. I think I could do that. I've worked as an auctioneer years ago. I bet I could be a caller. I could go to a square dance. I could be a caller. We got something going on here. Yeah, definitely Texan. While dodging snakes. No snakes today. I don't like snakes. I do not like snakes at all. Happy or otherwise. Craig today, most Texan thing, had Frito pie at a Texas high school football game in South Texas. Which game, man? The rounds are on Tuesday. Well, now we got Tuesday. Now we got Saturday. How many nights a week are we cutting a rug here? Yeah. Hadley Barrett, one of the great rodeo announcers. I got a chance to meet him in the early 90s. What was it? Hadley Barrett, Randy Corley, and a couple of those guys when they come through. Got a chance to meet particularly Hadley Barrett and visit with him. Pretty cool gig. Hard life. I mean, those guys are on the circuit, you know, just like the Cowboys are. And the Cowgirls, since we are playing the Wyoming Cowboys this weekend. We could do a whole tribute to Chris Ledoux tomorrow. We may do Chris Ledoux tribute. Ned Ledoux next week, by the way. I think it's next week. Yeah, because I remember thinking it goes on with the Oregon. Ned Ledoux, Chris Ledoux's son, will be playing at the Coyote store down there in Gale, Texas. Beautiful Gale, Texas. Port Isabel, Rio Hondo. Port Isabel won 38-20. Port Isabel, that's where former Lubbock High head coach Jason Strunk, I believe, coached for a few years down there at Port Isabel. I think I got that right. Somewhere in that area. You guys can get on the United Supermarkets text line. Let's get those scores coming in for Texas Tech and Wyoming. I'll give you mine. You give us yours. How do you think the game plays out? Offense, defense, in between? Will the altitude matter? No, because Tech has the right attitude. If you hurry, you can still make Cheyenne. Figured it up. By the way, 806-772-0197. It says it on your screen on Twitter and on YouTube. And if everybody who watches this, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you're following us on our Facebook page. Many of you are on that. And following on Twitter at Ryan Hyatt Media. Yes, he is. Garth Brooks song with a tip of the hat to Chris Ledoux. Anyone? I think we know the song. Actually, there were several Garth Ledoux, Garth Brooks, Chris Ledoux, Garth Ledoux. You get the idea. Tributes there. But yeah, it really, when Garth Brooks, dropped the line, a worn out tape of Chris Ledoux, much too young to field this demo. When he dropped that line, that introduced a big crossover segment in the early 90s to a guy in Chris Ledoux who'd been mostly rodeo music, cowboy music, that it was really kind of a niche thing. It was well known at the time, had been doing albums since the 70s. World champion rodeoer, champion of the world, bareback saddle bronc. Yeah, it launched a new deal for Chris Ledoux and a great band, Western Underground. What a great name for a band, Western Underground. Just Ledoux it. That's right. So anyhow, Ned Ledoux, who's a dead ringer for his dad, is going to be down there in Gale next weekend. So if you can't go to the Oregon game or for whatever reason, you do it from KC, Wyoming. Absolutely. Tech's playing Wyoming this weekend. Did anybody know that? Do you guys know that? Cooking for the game tomorrow. What's on everybody's menu? We can do some of that. A little menu action. I don't know what we're going to do for the menu tomorrow. Photo finishing into old Cheyenne. Damon watching. About time you're watching. You guys watching on Twitter and on Facebook, we welcome, and on YouTube, we welcome you in. Use the Old United Supermarkets text line 806-772-0197. Get your thoughts, comments. We asked you today how you think this game will play out. The number's right, I believe. There are, and I've been tracking this week to see how many sharps in the sports betting world were on this game. It will be a pretty well covered game because it's on CBS. So it'll get a lot of handle as the day goes on tomorrow. People love to bet games they can watch. So this game will get some betting traction. I won't be surprised if this thing goes off with Texas Tech at a 14.5-point favorite. And that is something I could probably look up right now. And let's go to our friends in the desert and see if we have any 14s hanging right now. College football odds. Let's scroll down here. You guys entertain yourselves. Gotta scroll down for tomorrow evening's games. There we are. I see the first hook out there. Now, we got 114.5. The total is sitting at open at 52.5. It's down to 50.5. I think that's people realizing that Wyoming is going to try to control this game on the ground with their run game, even though their top two running backs are banged up pretty good. 38-21 on the prediction there for John. So yeah, 50.5, 51 showing. Who's hanging that 14.5? Hold on, let's find out. That is at the Golden Nugget. Golden Nugget does some weird lines. College football, they can be behind, ahead. There's no rhyme or reason to the Golden Nugget. Pay attention to Circa tomorrow. Pay attention to South Point. South Point doesn't move the juice. South Point minus 110, plus 110. They'll move the number. They won't move the juice. So when they move the juice at South Point, when they move the number, the number has been moved by significant betting action. I can't watch College Game Day now. Cut the cable. We are getting rid of satellite around our house. Glad it's on the CBS. Yeah, Big Boys CBS tomorrow. Heard SMU is paying to be in a conference, and they are proud of it. Yeah, basically, that's what they're doing. So SMU, for 7 years, I believe, will take no TV money. Now, they will get conference revenue distribution, which offsets that. But they will not receive any of the television monies. And that has been one of the confusing things. And if Alan Corbin is still on, we can talk about it during the realignment and stuff and trying to discuss apples to apples and oranges to oranges in conference revenue distribution. There's TV money, then there's other monies generated by the conference that it all goes here, and that's how you get your total payout every year. So they will receive money from the ACC. They just will not receive the TV money. Now, why will they do that? Not sure the ACC lasts half that long, Chris. Death penalty still hurting SMU. Yeah, SMU still hurting SMU. So what was this about today? And we'll keep your score predictions rolling in. Thank you, Bootsy. I'm feeling good in the shirt today, man. Yeah, got the Pearl Snap action going on a Friday. Shout out Scott Fitzgerald. Pearl Snap Friday. Literally everyone back then, yeah. So Florida State's out. Clemson will be out. Carolina wants out. It was NC State who flipped under great pressure. And the reason why NC State flipped in short is because they don't believe that they have anywhere to go when the ACC falls apart, that they're not Big Ten and they're not SEC bound. So they needed the insurance policy. What they did today in the ACC was they created their insurance policy ahead of time because they know their house is burning down. Now, this is fascinating. If you go to the insurance agent, if you go to Shropshire Agency in Lubbock, independent agent, just like West Texans, you say, my house is on fire. Right, who do you recommend for some home insurance? You know, Jeff, good people, they're good people. They're going to laugh you out. But in the world of TV and college sports right now, they said, we'll do it now. We'll do it on the cheap. So they have backfilled with 3 teams because they know they're probably going to lose 3 teams fairly soon. So you go ahead and you get Cal and Stanford in whatever form or fashion that takes place. I guess they're going to play all of the non-revenue sports in Dallas at Dickies Arena. Seriously, that's what we're talking about. And then SMU is a content provider. You got to play somebody. It's handy to have them in the central time zone. It's a stopover. It's a way station. And SMU, why do you do this? Because now you know that you got a spot in the ACC when it falls apart. You're in. You don't care about the TV money. You weren't going to make any TV money in the AAC, in the Sun Belt, in the whatever. You were not going to get anything. So we make fun of SMU, and rightfully so. They have a Costco membership. They are not allowed to shop at Costco. But they do have a seat at the table going forward, and that's what it was about for SMU. That as the ACC becomes the decided 4th conference, well behind, no matter what Rhett Lashley says about being the only school in the Metroplex next year in a top 3 conference. Dude, are you high, dumb, stupid, or drunk? Because that's no way to go through life. So what you saw today was the rest of the ACC tacitly admit we're going down in flames. We need schools. These schools are dumb enough to come in at a discounted rate. TV partners said, sure, we'll do it. They have the 3 fill-ins now for when they lose Florida State, Clemson, and North Carolina. And there you go. Alan, nothing stops Pitt, NC State, Virginia Tech from leaving the ACC for the Big 12 when the no votes leave. No, but that's, Alan, and you're right. But what this was about for NC State was making sure that if the Big 12 decides not to take NC State, that they still have a place, they still have a conference, and they still have teams. They have the ability to go to their TV partners, whoever that may be coming up, and say, we've got the teams, we've got it, here we are. It was a preemptive backfill, unlike what the Pac-12 was capable of doing. The Pac-12 could have preemptively backfilled 2 years ago after USC, UCLA left, but they didn't want to take on the Big 12 schools. There you go into story. So that's what you saw today. The ACC admitting they're going to lose 3 schools. They got 3 schools to fill in on the cheap. It's really kind of brilliant on their part. As much fun as we make fun of it. In SMU, they will have to sleep on the floor at the homeless shelter. They don't care. They're in and out of the rain. They don't care. They don't need the money because they're not interested in going to college football playoff games. They just want to be in. That's all they care about, Navy football. 2030 ACC champs. I like it. SMU doesn't care. The fans don't care. Nobody cares. So they figured out a way to remain relevant, and they go from there. Tech 34, Wyoming 21. If you have some more thoughts on ACC, we can do that. I want more of the Most Texan Things you have done. It is time now to examine this college football game perhaps a little deeper. And I'll give you my score, and I want your score predictions as well. Good afternoon, Weston. Hope you're working hard as opposed to hardly working. So one of the big things going into this year was the clock changes and trying to speed up the game of college football, which if you want to do that, don't take so many freaking TV timeouts, shorten them up, and we can move the game along. That said, the first weekend, small sample size, it was kind of a wash with the new rules. How you doing? Doing good. The teams that play fast are still going to get their plays in. The best guess was that the new clock rules on average would reduce about anywhere between 6 and 8 plays. Ooh, that was harsh there on Lubbock High, man. And get rid of replay, absolutely, and then we're done. 6 to 8 plays max is what we were talking about with the new rule. But we factor this in because the new rule tomorrow night with Wyoming, a team that likes to play slow, may compromise a possession. Slayton tonight. Home with a really cool model train display there on the square. Need to go look at that. Game 404 consecutive for David with Abernathy. Good luck to you guys tonight. Old Ropes Eagles ran into a buzzsaw. Sometimes you the windshield, sometimes you the bug, and we was the bug last night. Well, I was going to try to shorten this game up, which is one reason why I've said consistently this week, you've heard it here, altitude will not matter. Yeah, Tech went up a day early. Don Williams, great column featured today, visiting with smart scientist types about altitude adjustment. Here is my research over the years, having come from West Texas to higher altitude places. When you're young and in really good shape, it doesn't matter. If you're old and you're out of shape, it affects you somewhat. There you go. Now, hopefully, the Texas Tech football players who will be called upon to play this football game are young and in shape. Now, for any of them that might have problems with altitude sickness, by going 48 hours instead of 24 hours, gives you 2 nights in the bed, whatever. It's not an issue. The issue actually is going to be Wyoming, and can they shorten this game up to make it where a mistake or two might be enough to turn it late in their favor? I don't think they'll be able to. They will huddle. They will snap the ball under 10 seconds on the play clock, which is another reason why Texas Tech will not be gassed. Wyoming does not try to run you out of the building. And I get it because a lot of the schools that Wyoming plays are from, higher elevation, and they really don't have that huge advantage other than when somebody comes from way down south or something. If altitude was an issue, Wyoming would be undefeated at home. Exactly. Just like playing at Hawaii. If Hawaii had a huge home field advantage, Hawaii would be in the national championship game. So the altitude's not going to affect Texas Tech whatsoever, at all. Banana Pudding Festival tomorrow at the bakery in Slayton. Wow. Attitude problems tomorrow? No attitude problems. You got the right attitude going in. You're not worried about the altitude. 3,300 feet. I've watched it in person over the years, taking teams to New Mexico, and how, pretty much they laughed at the idea that it was 5,200 feet. Yeah. I'm getting there. Hold your horses, Weston. Show's not over yet. I got to make sure people watch the show before I give out the score. Texas Tech, I think, has definitely an upfront advantage, even though this is a Wyoming program that prides itself on physical toughness and defense. I think Texas Tech, with the depth they have on the defensive line particularly, can control that line. They can put Wyoming behind the chains. I expect a lot of 3rd and long out of Wyoming. They're not very good at 3rd and long, typically. Get your butt off the field. Texas Tech, offensively, this will be the first time we begin to really see what the real identity of the offense is going to be for Zach Kittley and for Joey McGuire. Last year, it was a grab bag of things. This year, it's much more determined, much more decided, much more deliberate. You've recruited to it. You've got your offensive line in place the way you want them, where you want them. Good experienced quarterback. You've got 22,000 snaps. 22,000 snaps now on that offense. That's a lot. Do we think Texas Tech covers this game? Yes, we do think Texas Tech covers this number at 14. We do. Joseph says, surely SMU knows the ACC will disband about 2031. They'll have bought a pile of zilch. Nope. The ACC will still be there. That's why they went. They wanted to get in now, so when it does crumble, they're already there. There'll be an ACC of some type if we still have conferences. But it's a short-term, long-term. Long-term is 7 years. Short-term is 3 or 4 years. They're going to have a place to play for a few years. Typically, but it is a new year. Just hope quarterback stays healthy. History tells us that college quarterbacks get hurt, Texas Tech or otherwise. Very rare for most colleges to get through a year where their starting quarterback stays upright. So that's why you better be glad that Baron Morton is still in your quarterback room, because he would be a starter at 70%, I think, of the schools around the country in major college football. Texas Tech has improved the speed significantly. That should be on display tomorrow in certain facets. They have increased the speed of this team, and that translates typically to special teams. I'm predicting right now, I'm calling it, Texas Tech will score on special teams. Kick return, punt return, that there will be a special teams score tomorrow. That the guys that Tech puts out on special teams, compared to the guys that Wyoming puts out, there should be a gap. You exploit that gap. You get a special teams touchdown. That'll help. That'll come in handy. Now, don't be shocked if this game goes into the deep third quarter, about a 10-point game, 13-point game, somewhere in through there, that you kind of sit there and go, okay, where are we? But it will out in the fourth quarter. And Texas Tech will, I think Texas Tech will control this game. They will completely control the scoreboard, though, in the fourth quarter, which is what you want. I've got this one 38-17 Texas Tech with the Texas Tech special teams touchdown. It's really hard to shut out teams. It's really hard to keep teams out of the end zone. All the rules now favor the offense. Anything below 14 points given up to anybody these days for me is tantamount to a shutout almost in days gone by. So when you see a 17 number, that's a really good defensive day. I mean, one short field by your offense can lead to 3 points for the other team, as good as kickers are and as good as specialists are these days. So the idea of shutouts and 3 points and this and that, it's really, really hard for me to buy into. That's why you see the totals the way they are. So 38-17, Texas Tech. Very businessman-like day. You get the win. You get home. You want to stay injury-free. And we get a chance to see what this offense is going to look like. They're going to run it. It's Taj time. They get up, they're going to run it, which is another thing on that total. You know, I've got it going over the total right now. Total interesting. Troy down in Lindale, 42-24 Tech. Drive it like you stole it if you can get it. Absolutely. Off the United Supermarkets text line, don't want to miss this one. Should the Big 12 finish the Pac-12 by adding Washington State and Oregon State? No. Next question. Thanks for asking. They bring zero to the table. They don't feed themselves. They have no reason to be in your conference. And on national TV, which won't hurt. Which, again, if any Tech player has a huge day tomorrow night, or a huge night tomorrow night, they will thrust themselves into the national conversation for fill in the blank, because this is going to be a heavily watched game. Heavily watched game. I think it'll go off Tech minus 14.5. Which, is there value on Wyoming at that number? Yeah, there's some value right there. That's a late cover if something happened. There's some value at Wyoming on 14.5. It's kind of a stay away from me. Although Dr. Bob Stoll, one of the best sports bettors in the country, issued it today on VSiN as one of his top plays with Gil Alexander and Kelly Bidlin on beating the book. I mean, pardon me, on a numbers game. And he doesn't miss much. So if he likes Texas Tech, that's a pretty good sign. We'll go with that. All right, your final thoughts. Most Texan thing you have done, get some more score predictions in. It's a rare Friday night. Most of the times, this will be a Thursday night deal where we do our predictions and everything else. That we will be doing high school football. What do you got? We got home. We're home, then road, then open. So we'll be back with you on the 28th for a Friday there. I don't know if it was a great show, but it was the best one we were going to do today. So I appreciate you being out there. Ropes and is it Sudan? Yeah, Sudan at home next week. Got to pay those people back for a couple of games last year. The revenge tour 2023 continues. So it'll be the Eagles and the Hornets, the Mean Sting making the trip down the road just a little bit, not too far. Got to end the broadcast first for our good friends on Twitter and on YouTube. Appreciate you guys being out there using the United Supermarkets text line, and they're going.